A couple days ago, I shared with you all a perspective shift as to something else that can motivate you as opposed to the typical things that motivate people, such as fun, family, travel, friends, finances, fitness, all the F's that you can think of, all the fucks you can give. And as someone who wasn't motivated by any of those things, for a long time, I thought there was something wrong with me until I've been recently learning that my brain tends to be motivated by other things. And so I think that whether you have a neurotypical brain or a neurodivergent brain, I think that one thing that we can all be motivated by that we probably haven't taken into consideration is progress. Progress can be a motivator. I realized that when I was sharing that with all of you a couple videos ago, that that was only half the truth. I think the bigger and more uncomfortable question is progress towards what? And so that is the question that I ask myself when it comes to what I do each day and also who I want to collaborate with and work with. I say this because after that recording, I ended up meeting with a Filipina in the community who asked me for support passing by during one of their shows. They're one of the few people that I've seen pretty consistently in the many spaces that I've had the chance to be in. And so, whether near or far, I've been watching her and seeing how she interacts with others. Not too closely, but just, as someone who is in the space with us. And after she asked me for support, I realized that I have an opportunity here. And they have an opportunity here. We have the opportunity to work with each other. We have the opportunity to collaborate. We have the opportunity to connect. But as coming from a Filipino background, maybe an immigrant background, maybe a BIPOC background, I don't know about you, but we tend to be very helpful. We tend to say yes too quickly. Is that something that you can relate to? Do you find yourself people pleasing? Do you find yourself saying yes before looking at your calendar? Do you find yourself wanting to not get on people's bad side or wanting to impress them? Or I know a big one for me was putting all of my cards on the table so that they know what I have to offer and that they would want to collaborate with me, work with me, and just be in relationship with me. Being fully transparent, I realized that wanting that belonging and that acceptance, and being too quick about it. And more importantly, like not being discerning about it. But we're a little bit older, a little bit wiser. And I'm at a point in my life where I've done so much work as to what I feel like I would like to contribute to the world that I'm finally at a place where I can say no. And I hope that this is the case for you as I share a little bit more about what happened between our interaction. And also, I want to share with you all the vision that's been placed on my heart so that you can understand why we're even here in the first place. There's so many other YouTubers that you could be watching. There's so many other people that you can be following. There's so many other people that you can be subscribed to. And so I just want to come up straight up from the get-go, whether online or in person. Hey, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm building. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to contribute. And I just want to know if we're truly aligned and so that we can support each other in our efforts. Because the reality is, each day is going to go by anyways. Tomorrow, if we're lucky, right? Tomorrow's going to happen anyways. A year is still going to happen anyways, if we're lucky, God willing. So for me, intentionality is extremely important. And so when it comes to working with people and helping others and collaborating with others, for me, it's important to make sure that I communicate that upfront at this point in my life, as opposed to kind of being, how do I say this? Molding to their vision, right? There's this quote that floats out around there that says, either you build your own dream or you're going to help others build theirs. Nothing is wrong with either. I just want to clarify that there's nothing wrong with helping others build their own dreams. But I think more importantly is to first ask yourself if there's something within you that you want to build, that you want to create, that you want to bring forth into the world. That was my question for meeting this person. They asked me to meet with them because they want to support in organizing their projects, specifically for them to start releasing their music. Again, as I've been watching her from afar, I saw enough that I was like, at the very least, I want to have a one-on-one with her and just hear more about what's the point of all this? What progress are you trying to make and towards what? Right before I met with her, I ended up seeing this video by Erica Badu, it just was in passing. And so I want to share it with you all just to give you some insight as to what direction I'm headed in. And hopefully that we are on a path moving in a similar direction. Maybe not the same path, but moving in the same direction. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
Well, there's a philosophy that says 85% of the people on the planet are followers. 10% of the people on the planet are creators or leaders, and 5% of the people are observers. So when you got 85% of the people who are willing to follow, the 10% who are able to create something are going to capitalize off of that, and the 5% are usually the ones who are assassinated or shunned or discredited because they can see everything that's going on, and they would ruin it all for the 10%. So the reason why it's so easy to do that is because people are willing to be led, I think.
Do you think that when people go to psychics,
Sure,
they're seeking the supernatural, that oftentimes they're seeking for information that they're not quite ready for?
Perhaps, but you know what? I never think about someone else's journey or what they need, because what you desire, what you want, aesthetically or spiritually, usually leads you to what you need. You think you want a thing. It's not something that's random. You want this because this is something you need for the evolution of you and for your spirit. And in Allie's case in the movie, she didn't know that she needed this reading, or she didn't know that this ability would lead her to something that she actually needed to help develop herself. But it was. I mean, it's just, in my experience, the way life works. You just follow your heart, and it doesn't matter what people think you should be doing, or you follow your heart. And that's what we're learning from Allie. She should have believed in herself right from the start. Right from the start. Nothing should be able to infiltrate that for us as women.
So the first part is what she said, that 85% of people are followers, 10% of people are leaders and or creators, and 5% are observers. For me, I would like to work with and support and walk alongside the 10%. What that looks like to me, you can call them leaders, trailblazers, pathfinders, movers and shakers, mentors, pioneers, innovators, groundbreakers, trendsetters, guiding lights, torch bearers, initiators, discoverers, founders, voyagers. And so I already saw this Filipina again in the community, as young as she is, was still leading in these spaces, whether it was having a mic in their hand, having an instrument in their hand, or simply by the way that they were interacting with others. I want to clarify that being a leader has nothing to do with positionality, titles, occupation. It's really about how can we be a leader in our own lives, in our own neighborhoods, in our own families, in our own friend groups. For me, that is actually more of a leader than someone with a high title. Recognizing the influence that you have amongst the people that you're around, and recognizing your thoughts, your minds, your words sends out vibrations and influence and energy into how others, people move and shake with you. And so as we got together, and I love that she, pulled out her Excel sheet and was sharing with me their plan, I think a bigger question that was more important to ask, and is exactly the question I asked you all in the beginning, is progress towards what? And exactly what Erica Badu was saying in the second part of the video was saying that the importance of following our heart, the importance of sometimes you want something, but the thing that you want, there's actually something underneath it that gives you the thing that you need to continue to move you forward in the ways of your dreams. And so that was the second question I asked her. I said, okay, great. Like, this Excel sheet is great. You want to make music X, Y, and Z, but why? Tell me and share with me and describe to me the moment in your head, the vision in your mind that music can pay for, that music can fund, that music can create. As they were sharing it with me, I saw that they started to get teary-eyed, and they said, I've never shared that out loud with anybody. And to me, that was a yellow flag. And actually, when I think about a yellow flag, or I think about a yellow light, I'm actually being reminded of something that my dad would used to say when he would teach me about what each light meant. We would be in the car and he would say, "What does green mean?" And I say, "Go." "And what does yellow mean?" "Slow down." "What does red mean?" "Stop." But let's be honest, a yellow light for some people is sometimes speed up. But the recognition that we have choice in a yellow light, we have choice in a yellow flag, and you can choose one or the other. You can either speed up or you can slow down. And so the yellow flag for me is a two-part yellow flag. The first part of it is, one, you are in these spaces and in these places that you are meeting with this person and that person. And yet these older people haven't, or these friends, or these community members, or these peers haven't asked you what your vision is, haven't asked you what your dreams are. So that for me was the first part on the yellow flag. I was like, well, who are we surrounding ourselves with? And for me, it's just like, I want to be more overt with it. I want to be more upfront with it. And I want to ask people, what is it that you're actually dreaming of? What is it that you actually have a vision of? And I say this because I've come to a point in my journey where I've realized that our visions and our dreams are actually holy, that they are holy desires. Well, what does holy desires mean? For me, it means that they are set apart. They're set apart for you and your vessel, and that it has been planted in your heart and your mind for you to want to experience. And you can say it comes from a past life or a future life or everything all at the same time. I know for myself, the vision that was planted in my heart 10 years ago, I did not come up with that on my own. I didn't bring that into my own fruition. No one said this is what you should do. My family never said that this is the dream that I want you to achieve. After I told them, no, I don't want to be a nurse, well, then they said, well, what are we going to do? Can't fight her on it, which I'm grateful for that agency and that choice. And that's a whole different conversation. If it were up to me, and I just want to be completely transparent, if it were up to me, I would just act on my animalistic morals and I would shower, eat, sleep, shit, have sex, and move on with my life and just keep doing that over and over and over again. But for me, having the recognition that we have a spiritual side to us, that we are actual spiritual beings, connection to a higher source, to a higher being, to a higher creative power. I know that this is true for me because this vision that's been planted in my mind and my heart won't let me sleep. I think more importantly is to acknowledge and to recognize and to slow down enough that there's this vision in our minds and in our hearts that we want to experience. Again, it hurts my heart to hear that no one has ever asked this of her, or at the very least, she hasn't said it out loud. So for me, that just makes me question, you're putting all this time and effort into this channel called music and creative expression in this way, but yet, like, your North Star hasn't even been fully verbalized and spoken out into the universe, not only for the universe to hear, but for those around you to hear. Like, for me, doesn't it make sense? That's why I'm saying overtly, and that's why I'm going to overtly tell you mine. But doesn't it make sense to tell people what your vision is so you can look at each other and be like, hey, are we moving in a similar direction? How can we help each other get there? Do I have the skills, tools, resources, and connections to help you get there, to help you experience that, to help you live that out? Like, for me, that makes so much sense. And so I'm at a place where that's why I'm like, look, I'm just going to lead by example, and I'm just going to tell you what it is that I feel so grateful for. I feel so grateful for that we now have this tool called AI, and let's be honest, 85% of the population is freaking out about it, right? They don't know what to do. They think it's going to take their job, whatever. They're creating all kinds of stories about it. But there's a 10% that are actually using it and doing something with it. And then, of course, we got the 5% who are like, I don't know. I don't know either which way. They're just going to observe. They're just going to observe and see what's going to happen. Being a part of the 10% means taking initiation, means being proactive and seeing where it goes. Since I've been in Montreal, I've been getting even deeper into the tool, and I'm so grateful for it because I've had this vision on my heart for over a decade, and it was planted as just a small little mustard seed. It actually came into fruition through a drawing when I was helping a friend create a multimedia local platform back in Phoenix. And I just remember drawing this drawing for some reason. It was like It was a 3-part building, and each floor had different reasons and different purposes for it. And I was like, what's that about? I didn't know what it was about, but it was a drawing, an image in my mind that has stayed with me. Since I've been here, I've redrawn it out to be like, okay, what is this exactly? And so thankfully, it finally revealed itself over the past decade of iteration after iteration, trying of new things, different sectors, different jobs, different paths. And I've finally realized, with the help of an artificial intelligence, to help me make sense of my infinite intelligence, of what's actually wanting to come into fruition through me. And so I'm here to declare what my dream is. Because again, I don't want you watching this and you're just like, cool, you're all right. You're cool. I can watch you. But I'm not here to just like be here for entertainment. Like, I'm here wanting to call out and find the other 10% of people, work with and collaborate and develop so that we can lead in a positive way the other 85%. And I just, again, want to recognize that no one is better or worse. It's just different kinds of personalities, different kinds of beings. Because it's such a small group of people, where is everybody? That's why I'm online. Because I was like, I know y'all are on here. I know a lot of people are on here. And to be honest, I think the leaders that I'm looking for are not showing up and being online. And so they're difficult to find. And what am I going to do? Walk into every classroom, walk into every business, walk into every company, be like, hey, hello, are you someone who wants to create a different kind of society, a different kind of world, because obviously what we're experiencing is not working? Yeah, that's going to take a long time. So that's why for me, I said YouTube is a part of the mission. YouTube is a part of the strategy of finding these people. And so I'm looking for the 10%. I'm looking for the 10% that has a vision in their heart that won't let them sleep, and that each and every day they are progressing towards. So the vision that's been put on my heart is a creator leadership academy, the 10%, supporting them, guiding them, collaborating with them, connecting with them, creating with them, and using this thing called the internet to build a new kind of learning environment. One that doesn't just focus on the mind, but it focuses on the body and the spirit and our relationship to all of this. Our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to others, and not just our relationship to artificial intelligence, but also infinite intelligence. I recognize that I don't know everything. A smidge of a very small section in this thing called life. And so I'm seeking out those who have also studied, experimented with, and have experiences in other areas of life, especially through the full development of a human being, for us to be whole, for us to move as one. This Creator Leadership Academy is what you would call, in today's world, a community college. But it's more than that. To some level, it's as accessible as a coffee shop. For me, it's the recognition that everybody is actually a creator. We've just forgotten it along the way. And I'm just here to remind you of who you are, of who you truly are, beyond all this, beyond all that. And so I recognize that I'm just one person, but that's why I'm on a quest to find the other leaders, to find the other role models, to find the other rebels with a cause, because you may not resonate with me, and that's okay, but you resonate with somebody. So I'm looking for those role models, those who are leading by demonstration, those who are not just there to influence and become influencers, those who get up every single day and progress to become the highest versions of themselves. But let's be real. In today's world, there's a lot of things that are between you and the life that you want to experience. Based off of my observation, it's not only people that can be between you and your dreams. It's not only just perspective that's between you and your dreams, but there's this one culprit that I'm gunning for, that I'm coming after, because it's affecting all of us that have the privilege and accessibility to it. And especially the leaders, especially the role models, especially the mentors, especially the elders, especially the movers and the shakers, the trailblazers, the pathfinders. This thing right here, man, this thing right here is actually one of two things that are between you and your dreams. Can you guess what the second one is? You're right. Yourself, and more importantly, your relationship to this thing. So I'm here to try to figure out and help and support the 10%. The 10% who have a vision, a mission, cause in their mind, their body, their spirit, and in their heart that they want to contribute, that they want to give, that they want to lead, that they want to guide, that they want to be a role model for. But this thing is getting in the way. And so before we can even talk about full-blown strategies, followers, communities, leading others, we have to talk about how are we leading ourselves. So when I talk about the Creator Leadership Academy, I'm talking about how can we lead and create our own lives? How do we help and support each other in doing so? How are we intentional about creating our environments? How are we intentional about cultivating and nurturing each other? I don't know. Maybe it's my ADHD and I just can't do the small talk anymore. But I just wanted to come straight out with it, that I realize that I'm not perfect and that I don't have all the answers, but I do know something, that I've done something, that I've experienced stuff. And I'm here to just share it with those that are willing and to find those who are willing to teach, that are willing to mentor, that are willing to guide. It's really easy to sit back and allow the world to do what it's doing and to be nonchalant and too cool for it. This one life is not nonchalant to me. I want to have nonchalant moments, but it's not nonchalant to me. So I'm looking for the chalanters. I'm looking for the leaders. I'm looking for the role models. I'm looking for the rebels with a cause who's ready to disrupt, to be a pattern interrupt, to shake things up for the oneness and harmony of humanity. And realizing that each one of you have a vision and a mission of moving our society forward. And that if you have not said your mission and vision out loud yet, if you haven't written it down, if you haven't taken the time to think about it, to reflect, to observe, and to ask yourselves those big, uncomfortable questions, I'd say that's your first step. Because I know you have it. I know that there's a seed that's been planted in your heart. You just haven't watered it. You haven't tended to it. You haven't cultivated it. And for some of you, you've probably pushed it to the side, said that it wasn't realistic or that it'll never happen. I'm telling you right now, this thing that you're watching me on, I believe, is the shortcut where you don't have to wait a whole lifetime to experience it anymore. Maybe not even a whole decade, maybe just a few years of focused, intentional work. But there's a lot of things that are in between you and that vision, like this thing right here. So have an honest conversation with yourself as to where you're truly at, and to sit there and get quiet and ask yourself, what is it that you truly want to experience? But most importantly, whether you identify as a leader or not, just know that the fact that you simply took the time to reflect and observe and ask yourself those big questions already says that you are a leader. And more importantly, that you're a creator. We come from the ultimate creator. It's only inevitable that we would create also. So yeah, if we ever meet in person, don't be surprised if I ask you what your vision is, if I ask you what your dreams are. I hope that you take the action item seriously and write the full picture in every area of your life. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some reflection. It's going to take some observation. And for some people, it's going to be uncomfortable. But if I were you, I'd start right now. Because as you and I know, tomorrow's not guaranteed. As you and I know, that out there, we don't know how much longer that's going to be. And for me, I don't know how much longer this is going to be. The time is going to pass anyways. So do it now, as that's your first step in being a leader in your own life. So if you end up doing this action item, or shall I say, when you do this action item, I would love to hear it in the comments below. And I'd love to stay connected with you and get to know you and see again if we are walking in a similar direction. And hopefully one day we can work with each other. But I'm fully convinced that I'm not supposed to do this by myself. And I hope that you are too. But again, I'm looking for the 10% so that we can step up and lead the 85. But it starts with ourselves first. So go ahead, leave in the comments below any part of your vision you'd love to share. I'd love to read them and get to know you more. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.